It is repetition which makes for perfection.
Kind of envision it more off center now. Okay. Hopefully you guys can see that. I'll try and draw a little harder. So it's like a helmet. Inside a black suit. And I'm kicking it over to the side here. Well, welcome in, Kanger Banger. Hey, Jeremy L. Joe. Gorilla 524. Let me just get this started, because I started late, and then I'll do a proper. And here's the thing, I saw someone say in chat, wasn't Book and Red, saying the character is a little more obscure. So it was, the whole process has been winner's choice for all these sketches, and this particular winner, like the cartoon show. And here's the thing, whether obscure or not, I think the idea is more about creativity and having fun for good cause versus let's just draw all the major characters from the DC pantheon. Okay, so you can sort of see it kind of taking shape here. So far the hand feels good. I still want to somehow fit in Batman Beyond, and to really sell it, I think, I'll put red in here for the eye, so it's a bit of it's a sub profile. And then he's got his own bat symbol here. Okay. This is all black in here. So let's figure out how to do this so that I can use the positive and negative, the black and white, to help sell each other. And what I mean by that is this hand will be in black, and if I put it against this red logo, which will be in white, it'll pop up. But let's draw this through so the structure is good. Yeah. I do feel like maybe a little negative space there. So let's forget about that idea of playing off that logo. bats. So all this is kind of black in here. Like that. Okay. All right. Now I can see that the line I've been drawing is actually kind of sketchy. Which is fine. This is going to be a kind of a gnarly 3D piece almost. And I leave the top highlight there open. The mine closes it up. This marker is pretty dead. And by that I mean, see how I have to kind of like throw it a couple times to get a line? Black. Black. His glass. So what happens if I put Batman's shoulder here? There we go. It's a different crop. Outlines. And I've never done anything like this, so I actually don't know how it's going to even turn out. So hopefully decent. There's the hips. I don't know what you fine folk have been up to. My parents moved into a new place, so this whole weekend I've been helping them move. And attach TVs to the wall. Had a huge bookcase that had to be moved in a hallway, so I actually got a circular saw and had to trim down the corners to make it fit. That was like an all-day project, but we finally got it in there. It looks good. My parents are in their 80s, so a lot of this work's going to be done with a brush. That's kind of how it manifests itself. And it's gonna go in here and come out here. Let's try that. Yeah, so after the stream, I gotta go help them continue to move stuff. But they had just way too much stuff. Like two 27-foot trucks worth. The movers came at like 9 in the morning. So I just mentioned that not just to critique them, but so kind of vowed while I was sweating and lifting boxes full of literal riverbed rocks. Yes, my mom. So I might have to adjust that head thing again. All right, let's start with the ideal location for that. Okay, we've established that. Okay, if that's the middle of the collarbone. Now I'm back out to here. Yeah, that works. That's the thing that makes them different. And it's a particular kind of construction here, so I've got to make sure that it doesn't look like future state Batman. Okay, let's put the bat ears up there. Okay. So the idea with this is like less drawing, a little more painting. It was like coughing jag. So get like a face shield this time. Maybe even a pair of gloves. Hit nails. Cut the nails in half. It was gnarly. Okay. Hello. Could have sworn I hit it. Excuse me. All I'm saying is that working with happy accidents, right? Kind of pushing down the brush. What that does is the brush creates a pattern, not you. Like you push down, the hair separate in random different directions. And then as you run out of ink, you can do dry brush effects, which can be cool. Trust me, when you first start using a brush, you're not going to be able to control it like this. It's going to feel like it's like a magic marker with a tip that is non-existent, because you're not going to get much feedback, pushback from the piece of paper that you're drawing on. And it's just a matter of practice and calibrating sensitivity. But it's worth it. It's worth the investment of time. I'm pretty hard on the brushes. I do, like, real inkers probably, prep their brushes for inking, clean them thoroughly, re-oil them afterwards. I just kind of, sometimes I let them dry with the ink, still in the hairs. It's all crusty. I have to kind of break it the next time I use it again. But yeah, once the tips, the brush, the hair tips, whatever, get so messed up, the brush becomes kind of useless. And they're like, I don't know, $7 to $12 a pop. But you can see sort of the glow effects I'm trying to achieve. Like I'm doing it with white, with dry brush. But I am going to do most of it with Splatter, hopefully. See how that edge is not super clean, which is fine. This whole piece is going to feel very energetic, I guess. So let's, this look feels a little thick to me, but that's just a side note. I'll mess with Terry's face a bit too. There are all these like notes I'm sort of mentally making as I go through this piece, things to fix and alter as I get through it more. Can't get too precious over something like this. there's going to be probably the highest degree of spontaneity in any of the 60 for 60 that I did. Although that Brainiac one I did was very kind of rough in its minute detail, because the whole point was that when you look at it as a whole, you see a picture, but when you look at it individually, you just see like little random lines and headshots. I should have like a little gauge on the side, kind of hand discomfort. I can feel like the tips are getting a little numb right in here. It's kind of a weird sensation. Opportunities for you guys with these final three. So if you've been looking and kind of hoping to be able to bid and win one, I know what the last three are, so okay. Throwing the shadows a little bit stronger here. I find myself holding my breath a lot of times when I ink something, or pencil actually. All right, enough of that. All right, so now I'm going to go in and create sort of these gray areas where I didn't want the blacks to completely filter into another, or sort of merge into another black area. So 2 rules of investing. If you're young out there and want some life advice, rule 1: invest in things you know, right, and things you love, because then even if it's gone down in value, you still have something on your mantelpiece or in your collection that you truly cherish or love. Another one is never speculate or invest. Well, never speculate in things with money that you can't afford to lose. So if you have a nest egg and you need that nest egg, I would put it in conservative investments. And then if you have some discretionary money left over, maybe you invest in things that are a little more speculative. I don't consider art to be speculative, though. The comic book marketplace has, in my opinion, decimated the stock market in terms of returns over the years. If you look at the prices realized, and every time it goes up, people go like, "It can't hold this value." Huh? It's going to price everyone out, and yet it still continues to go up and up and up and up. But we're nowhere near like where the fine art marketplace is in values, so it's hard to predict with certainty. Where the top is. So throwing lines like this are pretty easy on the hand. It's when I have to control that line and make it do my bidding, so to speak, that the muscles don't, or the tendons don't seem to like it. So just kind of punching things back, right? And you see things kind of come to the fore, correct? Okay. Think of it. I thought it was great. I was like, what can you possibly do that would be interesting if they're not playing their characters? I mean, this is how limited I am, right? And I thought it was very heartfelt and poignant at times. I liked all the surprise people that kind of just showed up. It was really well done. I enjoyed it. It was a very constant, there was a theme. People were talking about it. I think you just cannot judge. It's tricky, man. I think being in the spotlight, living, what now, 17 years, 27 years since the show started, being some of the most well-known people in the world, it changes you. It changes how you see yourself. I try not to judge them too much because, Ricky Schroeder, I mean, he had a unique life that only other child stars can really understand, and I think it does mess with you. So it's not like they're regular folks that decided to go and get all this plastic surgery. They've lived a very they've and what you will do to protect yourself, your self-image. I don't know. I think we just need to be careful and not be so judgmental and go like, how can we truly understand what they've gone through? And I think they even said during the show, like, it's something that they only, like, even their friends and family can't understand. Only the other cast members, the six of them, truly had an experience that was similar and understandable. Ate that one too fast for the stream. But I envy you. Folks in chat. It's an interesting memento of the creative journey that we've all shared together through this stream. And so you can see I'm adding splatter, being very careful with the black, more so than I am with the white, because you can't go back in, and it's a lot harder to fix black splatter effect mistakes. That's just a big blob of ink I'm moving my finger. Unfortunately, I have to do some over here. It's going to get pretty gnarly, messy, but I have to clean it up with whiteout. Okay. So you can see when it gets really, now that I've got most of the big droplets of ink off, I'm getting a very fine gray mist, which is cool. So I'm going to continue to play into that because I like that value that it creates. Got to ease back into it. I don't even know, like, it's going to be weird being at a convention talking to people about comics in person for the first time. Okay. And I don't like whatever I was doing here or attempting to do didn't really work out, so let's clean that up. Just creating a spherical glass effect there. So I basically put white out on the highlight of that sort of glass structure there. Make me one thing. Make me all one, like, there are people in the audience at a more advanced age that completely understand what I'm saying, right? I got LASIK done a long time ago, but you will still get nearsighted as you get older, as farsighted as you get older. When I was younger, I was extremely nearsighted, so I needed glasses to see anything, close and far. So the laser surgery pretty much fixed that, and I was able to see things great without glasses or contacts for many years. And then when you hit your, they said 40s, but I didn't really feel it till like mid 50s, which is good. All of a sudden, you're near things that are very close to you. Your ability to see that drops off, even with the surgery. it would have happened anyway. So I can get bifocals, but I don't know. That's, well, what's next? Gotta draw the line. Isn't it awesome? Like when you get glasses for the first time, like you go out and go, I remember, holy cow, I can see every leaf on that tree. I just never thought you were supposed to be able to see every single leaf on a tree. Okay, so these are bats up here. So you don't have to clarify or put the detail in for every bat. If you just do a few, the mind will accept these other blobs to be versions of bats. So I just need to clean up some of these and make the blobs into more bat shapes. And if you're wondering, like, how can he just draw bat shapes off the top of his head? I had to look at a lot of pictures of bats, drawings of bats, and I basically created, like, I don't know, 3 different silhouettes of bats that I can draw, and that's what I have in my head. Not too dissimilar from birds, like doves and stuff like that, but they do have a different anatomy. So I have a grill. I don't have New Balance shoes though. So these bat shapes are kind of going into the shredded parts of his jacket there. And let's go ahead and do some detail around this hand. There's his thumb. And we're going to put a big blob white out here. It's going to run down into that brush, and we are going to splatter. I know it's a little challenging to watch while I'm doing it from that vantage point, but let me see if I can get my head out of the way. See that kind of light gradation there that you create there? It's kind of fun. I can't see it when my head went blobbing. Here, let me do one a little further back like this. You can see. Now I find with whiteout especially that the spray pattern, the mist of it all, is different. The very first couple splatters versus latter splatters, and that's because the paint starts drying, the whiteout starts drying and coagulating, and it makes the hairs thicker, and so you're going to find that it changes. So you can either have a second brush in the ready, or just know that it's going to change, and just same thing with a dry brush. When it's fully loaded, it's going to give you a different line than when it's when it's got so little ink, you can create a dry brush effect. So if your mists of whiteout are changing, either clean the brush or get another brush, because it will change. You'll just find out as you do it. So that was bad. Let me go back to this one for a second. This is the foreground figure. I don't want Batman Beyond to be competing, so I'm going to take this white out and kind of push him back. If it's or airbrush, it would just be like little gray, kind of push back that whole figure. It's already dried up again, so I'm going to start over here. Now, you're probably wondering, like, usually use like a credit card or a room key or whatever to push things back or to splatter. Why using a brush here? Because the brush gives you finer droplets. If you use a plastic card to get, it's more like rain or snow. This is more like a mist. So I'm even softening more that side of it. Alright, so what's going to be truly white? I think his hand's going to be white. Okay. Maybe a little white out where his mouth is. Thank you very much. Now you can't, it's hard to see this, but when it gets scanned, you're going to see these whiteout things more pronounced in the gray areas here. Busted tooth, let's fix that. I'm going to have to fix his smile a bit. That's the Batman smile. White out there. Let's clean these lines up. I didn't like these thrown lines here. I don't mind the dots. think there are two bones right here. Look cute, might white out later. Let's see what happens if I put a little structure in here. Just to knock it back a little bit, because everything is pretty subtle. I don't even know if you can see it on the screen, but in real life I can see a graying out of that black just a bit. One more spritz. Okay. And okay. Green on the edges. Oh, look, that's gray. I don't know if this is going to work, but let's do it. That marker I did using the marker didn't fully dry. So let's see what happens if I do this. I put white, just water first, and then I'm putting pigment into the. That's the fun thing about watercolor. You can go wet on dry. You can go wet on wet. You can go dry on wet. I mean, you get different results with each approach. Let's do this part as well. Now, hopefully gravity will start taking effect there. You can see kind of it going. Let's help it along a little bit. I wish the pigment stayed this intense and saturated. When it dries, it gets it gets a lot flatter and kind of less interesting. Okay. And lastly, I'm just going to put some water down here to just make it more random and blobby. reverse the gravity, move that pigment around. You can see it just kind of, the tear kind of moving around. Make it start that way. And then the other thing you do with watercolor is let it semi-dry and then add water next to it, and then you see different. I don't know, man. It's a science thing. It's a physical. It's as much drawing as it is working with different states of dryness and liquid to get different results. So the same thing with a brush. You only learn by doing and experimenting. So have fun. Okay. Can you see that? So we have 3 left, 58, 59, 60. So this is 58. Of 60. Okay. And it's still not done yet. I'm going to let it dry a little bit more. But to make the glass look reflective, I'm going to put like 2 or 3 reflected circles, a big circle, a little circle, and a smaller circle right there to make it look like it's reflecting lights that are in the ceiling. When you see the final thing, you'll see some white out over the green and maybe a little white splatter over the green as well. But essentially 99% of this is done, and I want to thank you guys for tuning in and seeing this done in person. But you'll see it. I'll make a big impact right there for sure. I just boom, 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 and it'll be like, and then maybe just a little cleanup over here to make that look more glowy. And I think we're good.